Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Russia has begun the battle to take control of the eastern Donbas region. Meanwhile, Moscow claims its military operation is continuing as planned. In the east, the battle in Mariupol continues, with Russian forces now claiming full control of its urban area. Ukraine says the situation in Mariupol is very difficult, saying that Russia used strategic bomb attacks to destroy Ukrainian bases. On Sunday, Russia set a deadline for Ukrainian forces to surrender, which Ukraine refused. On Monday, Ukraine called on Russia to facilitate a humanitarian corridor to let civilians escape from Mariupol's Azovstal steel plant. On the same day, Lviv reported that 7 were killed in Russian missile attacks on the western border city. Philip Crowther reports.
Well, it was another reminder today here in the western city of Lviv that Vladimir Putin's forces can send missiles and hit targets here in Ukraine pretty much whenever they want. They're not necessarily always going to succeed. The Ukrainian air defense system has worked very well here in the Lviv region, around the capital city Kyiv as well. The local authorities here in Lviv tell us that there was a 3-year-old boy who was injured in this attack on that car repair shop. He had come here to Lviv, to a place that was deemed much safer and still is much safer than the place they came from. That's Kharkiv in the northeast of the country, a place that is particularly dangerous, that is being shelled by Russian forces pretty much every day right now. But this came as a shock here in Lviv. There is a feeling here that a little bit of innocence might have been lost. People surprised here that the war again came to their doorstep. We are seeing those plumes of black smoke here over the city of Lviv.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says the Western policy of heavy sanctions against Russia has failed, and that's evidenced by the country's economic recovery. However, the governor of the Central Bank of Russia has a more gloomy outlook. Here's more from Julia Chapman.
Vladimir Putin claimed Western countries have only hurt themselves by imposing sanctions on Russia. In a televised meeting on the economy, the Russian president said Europe and the United States are the ones suffering the economic impact. He insisted that Russia had survived an economic blitzkrieg, pointing to stabilizing inflation, normalizing retail demand, and a recovered ruble.
We can now confidently say that such a policy of sanctions towards Russia has failed. The economic blitzkrieg strategy didn't work. Moreover, the initiators themselves couldn't get away with the sanctions. I'm talking about inflation and unemployment growth and economic dynamics worsening in the US and the European countries.
But that progress is largely down to capital controls, which are unlikely to remain in place in the long term. The president's optimism stands in contrast with the governor of the Russian Central Bank. Elvira Nabiullina warned on Monday that while sanctions first hit financial markets, they will increasingly affect the economy. She said there is only a finite period in which the country can survive on its reserves, and she forecast a further surge in prices for certain goods. Russia's annual inflation rate is currently 17.5%. Despite that, Nabiullina hinted that interest rates would slowly come down to allow for more borrowing as businesses adapt to their new reality. Meanwhile, Russian state TV has aired an appeal by 2 captured British soldiers who had been fighting with the Ukrainian army. They called on Prime Minister Boris Johnson to help arrange a prisoner exchange for Ukrainian politician Viktor Medvedchuk, a Kremlin ally. Moscow has previously dismissed the suggestion that he could be part of a swap, as he is not a Russian citizen. It was not clear when the video was shot or whether the soldiers were speaking freely. Julia Chapman, CGTN, Moscow.
Russia has expelled a number of Bulgarian diplomats in response to their decision to expel 10 Russian diplomats back in March. The Russian Foreign Ministry summoned the Bulgarian ambassador on Monday and declared some Bulgarian embassy employees persona non grata. It did not say how many staff members were told to leave. Ukraine is hoping within weeks to be receiving candidate country status for joining the European Union. President Zelenskyy has handed over answers to a questionnaire to the EU ambassador to Ukraine, Mati Masikas. The ambassador said Ukraine's answers will be analyzed very quickly. Zelenskyy signed an official appeal to the EU asking for accession of Ukraine via a new special procedure in late February and obtained the questionnaire earlier this month during European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's visit to Kyiv.